You're listening to the Behind the Tee podcast, hosted by your favorite club curlers, Rob and Kelly. The show where we share our thoughts on what's happening in the curling world with the internet. But let's be real, we end up talking about football half the time anyways. Hello. Hey, Rob. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you, Kelly?
Not too bad.
The same can't be said for your microphone, I have to say.
Clearly. We had a little technical difficulties starting today, and this is our third attempt at recording. So hopefully this goes smoothly. I just before we get started, I was just out to dinner at a pub before we're recording this, and they had the football games on, and I checked our leaderboard standing, and this week, my goodness, was it a bad week for pigs?
I haven't checked in a while. What's the update?
Oh, it's I think like so far I've only picked like 4 correct outcomes. Basically, I betted against Green Bay this week, which was a mistake.
Aaron Rodgers, I thought he'd be I don't know, I didn't realize you could recover from COVID so quickly in time to play the second game, no problem.
I guess he didn't have a serious case. Wait,
I guess
I'm trying
not.
to find the game here. Wait, who are they playing against?
They were playing against Seattle. And I thought he'd be suspended too for not exactly being 100% truthful with his vaccination status.
Right. Well, he's Aaron Rodgers. He can get away with anything. But yeah, 17-0. What happened to the Seahawks?
I know, like they were a couple of years ago a force to be reckoned with. By a couple of years ago, I mean, actually, I think as recently as last year. And I don't know, just not that much of a threat anymore, I guess.
And Brady let me down again this week as well. Buccaneers lost to Washington. But you know what? Patriots, they won. So,
that happened, yes. Like they're coming back. I can't remember if I picked them or not.
I did. 45-7.
I know you did.
It's the Cleveland Browns. All the other games that happened this afternoon, I just lost.
The good news is that because if you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, because we are supposed to talk about curling, but we every now and then we always default to something football related, and we decided to keep track of how good or really how bad our football picks are. And so what are the standings? Like, we are keeping track of this.
So I suck. Let me just pull the standings right now. So Sclerotinia Fanboy is in the lead with 94 points. And essentially you get 1 point per correct pick. So we're just picking who's going to win each game every week. So Sclerotinia Fanboy are at 94, Club Brute Girls at 86, followed by Pod Shatter for Life at a close 85.
Okay.
So, you see, last week I did what both of you didn't do, was I bet against Aaron Rodgers. So I went for the Chiefs or Kansas City over Green Bay because I saw the headline that Rodgers was out because he was sick. So I bet against Kansas City, and you both went for Green Bay.
I did I? Yeah, yep. That's right. I felt they would win without him.
Nah, they don't have another quarterback.
But they do. That's the thing. Like, Aaron Rodgers has been like deemed expendable because they drafted like their next in-line quarterback. And so I guess it's just too soon for that. But
can you say he's like pulling a Brett Favre where he doesn't want his like underling to get?
It's exactly that. Like, when they drafted him, Aaron Rodgers was mad. He was like, what the heck?
Yeah. But dude, you're like 40 years old, you know?
It's awkward, but I mean, don't blame the team. They've got to prepare for the future at some point.
Right. You're not Tom Brady.
I mean, who is? But
imagine he like went to the Buccaneers. They could be like, hey, we can split the QB responsibilities, you know, do 50-50.
Every football fan would love that if Tampa Bay got after like Tom Brady, like, or even while they have him, like, oh yeah, let's bring in Aaron Rodgers, no problem.
Right.
That'll be popular.
Because, you know, Tampa's just missing championship wins, right?
I know they're in a pretty bad drought right now. They did not win the World Series. I'm sad to tell you. So, man, a sports season wraps up without Tampa Bay winning. Jeez. I feel bad for their fans.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be living in Tampa Bay right now, would I?
No.
I wouldn't generally, but...
But I guess we should try to get this to curling.
Yes.
Because that is what we're about. It's a big week in the curling world. First of all, I guess what the fans really care about, Kelly, is on Tuesday night, we will play our first ladder game, our first Tuesday night league game in
Right.
1.5 years.
Hmm.
We've been waiting a long time for this moment. I know all our listeners have been waiting forever for this moment to find out how it goes. And in lesser news, there's some other kind of tournament that's starting next weekend. I forget what it's called.
Something called, so it's not the pre trials. We finally got to the trials. So yeah, November 20th, we'll start the trials, which will determine who's going to represent Canada at the Olympics this winter.
That's right. If I didn't have a day job and Saskatoon were within an hour's drive, I would go.
Oh, so you're not willing to drop $800 on a flight to go to Saskatoon to watch this?
I'm afraid not. I'd love to, but
Yeah. In late fall when it's already quite cold.
See, this is my big curling complaint, is that if this were based on demand, flying to Saskatoon in late November should be pretty cheap, because I imagine not too many people want to do that. But unfortunately,
that's essentially why it's not cheap, because many people don't want to do that.
I wish it worked more on like supply demand kind of thing, which it doesn't, sadly. So we'll be watching from the comfort of our homes. But the trials is one of my favorite things. It's like a Brier Tournament of Hearts, but every game is featuring a really, really good team. And I think what I like about it most is that it's totally unpredictable and the stakes are so high. It's just it's a lot of fun.
Well, you essentially have the best out of the best in Canada playing in this tournament, because that's how it's designed, right? Compared to the Brier and the Scotties, you have one representative per province, but now it's just any Canadian team. If you earn the spot, you get to play in it.
Yeah, and it's the case for like every Grand Slam that we watch. Every Canada Cup that comes on is the same thing. It's always like the top teams. But do any of us really care about that? Yeah, this is what we all watch for. None of us really care about the Canada Cup or trials.
No.
Not trials, sorry, Grand Slam.
I mean, unless we get a Netflix special, then I'll care a little more. But until then,
if you want us to care, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Send us money and a Netflix contract.
A film crew. Yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty excited. I went through the list of teams that will be playing before we started recording, and I kind of have my picks of who I think will win, but also I have picks for who I would like to see win.
Okay, interesting.
So it's two different things. Yeah. So do you want to kind of start with that and let's go through the teams?
I suppose so, sure.
Do you want to start with the women's or the men's? Start with the women's, because
let's start with the women's, because they're at the top of the website, right? We're looking at the same thing.
First teams here, we have Team Einerson. I can never pronounce her name right. From the Gimli Curling Club from Manitoba. They're the latest Team Canada representative. Mm-hmm. Solid team. I like them.
Yeah, I guess they go in as the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've not been actively following things this year. My understanding is I don't think that they're spieling that particularly well up to now this year, but
it's still
really
early in the season.
It is, and does any of that matter? Like, really, every team is trying to peak in late November here. Does not matter. Anything up to now doesn't really mean anything.
Right. One thing we learned from last year is you don't bet against Shannon Burchard.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially at the Tournament of Hearts, though. I don't know if that carries over to the trials, but
we'll see. So next up, we have Team Fleury from the East St. Paul Curling Club, also from Manitoba. Another good, solid contender there.
And keep an eye out for them, because they actually are really spieling well, from what I understand. They've won a lot of tournaments so far this year, so they appear to be on top of their game.
Then we have Team Harrison from the Dundas Valley Golf and Curling Club from Hamilton, Ontario. And if I remember correctly, they're one of the entries from the pre-trials that happened a couple weeks ago.
That's right. They survived the pre-trials.
Did you pick them? I don't think you did. Any of us pick them to win?
I don't think so. No, I don't think we ever talked about it, but our pre-trials picks were really good.
Probably
it's one
the
of the
best
few
picks. Yeah.
I know, it's one of few things that I think we both did better on the men's side, though. I think on the men's side, I didn't get it exactly right, but I did say, I called Glenn Howard, but I said, if Glenn doesn't make it, watch out for Tanner Horgan. So I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but it still makes me sound pretty good, so I'm going to roll with it.
I put here Gun Lickson and Horgan.
No way, you did? You picked that exactly right?
Yeah, look. And then Howard and Flash right here. You don't believe me? Look, I wrote it down.
I do not believe you.
Look,
oh my
right
God.
there.
You could have written that right now.
I did not, because look at my notes this time. Different colored pen. You guys can't see this on the podcast.
What this means is
But
you have to
trust
go
me.
back and listen to episode 2 from this
Right.
season again. And
Right.
well, anyway, yeah, good job
Well,
then.
let's keep going. So then we have Team Homan from the Ottawa Curling Club. I mean, no doubt about it, they're also a favorite to win. They
Hmm.
represented Canada at the last Olympic, and I think that I think a lot of things happened last Olympics, which we've already talked about, which I think was kind of unfair for that team. So I wish that if they do win again, they kind of get a second chance, and hopefully things would go better this time around.
Yeah, this is maybe not the right time to bring that up, but what the hell, let's go for it. Like we were not happy with
No.
or
Well, I think all of Canada was not happy. Not
well,
about
no,
like
not the
them
results.
yeah.
Right, like that happens. It's just that our understanding is that they had an alternate and Curling Canada stepped in and said, "No, no, no. We're choosing your alternate. By the way, we're also bringing you another coach. And by
Yeah.
the way, we're doing that." Like Curling Canada had their hands over everything. And I'm sure Rachel would not make this an excuse. I'm sure she would just admit that like we didn't play as well as we should have. But if you're hell bent on winning a gold medal, which I'm pretty sure Curling Canada is, back the heck off.
Mhm.
Let them do whatever it is they normally do.
Well, I hope that last Olympics was kind of a lesson learned for Curling Canada to be like, "Hey, you enforcing your like rules onto the team did not work. So, back off."
I'd really like to think so. I without mentioning names, I know a few people that sat around that boardroom table that that knew who like the alternate and coach were going to be, and like they were sworn to secrecy. They couldn't talk about it, and I just remember shaking my head going, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, and these are, again, with respect, people that have never played competitively or anywhere near the level of somebody like Rachel. So hopefully, like we've said, they've learned their lesson and they've backed off. But we'll know right away when we see some trials team and Curling Canada choose an alternate for them. If they do that, I mean, I guess
Oh,
they've
you
learned
know
nothing.
that yeah, you know that the curling Twitter sphere is going to go crazy if that
We'll have a
happens
lot to
again.
say.
Oh, well, yeah. It's great. It'll give us more content.
Actually, yeah, Curling Canada, do it. Give us something to talk about.
So right after Homan, we have her arch nemesis, Team Jones from the St. Vital Curling Club in Winnipeg. To be honest, I'm not going to pick them as my winner, but you never know.
You
You never
never
know.
know. You can never bet against Jennifer Jones either.
Yeah.
And I guess that'll be the ultimate test. If curling can't, because this is a 5-person team with Jennifer, Caitlin, Joss,
Well, do you know what's interesting
Dawn
in this
Askin,
one?
yeah, and now Lisa Weigel.
But they don't even have because like every other team has skip third lead coach, right? And obviously they can bring an alternate. But for Team Jones, they have skip third second lead
Oh yeah, very
and
interesting.
coach. So they put Dawn and Lisa as official leads.
As
So I'm
co-lead, who's the real lead?
exactly. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Are they gonna like? I can't see them alternating games, or is one person gonna have the lead? And if they don't perform well, the other person's gonna step in. And let's say they do make it to the final, who's gonna play? And if they win, who are they gonna pick as their lead, and who's gonna be the alternate?
Yeah, and that's a question that we asked first of all last year. I remember when it looked like we would have to play social distancing rules with only one sweeper. And I was thinking, like, why do you have a 5-person team when curling is essentially going to become a 3-person sport? But yeah, it's interesting here too with the 5-person team, and we'll know that Curling Canada's got their hands all over this if Jennifer wins the event and
Oh
they
yeah.
if they say like, sorry, Don Askin, you're not, or Don Mcewen, pardon me, you're not coming. We're choosing the alternate.
Did you
Obviously they
imagine?
would obviously they wouldn't do that. They did this because they weren't impressed with the alternate on Rachel's team or her resume.
It was a Kriviachik, no?
Yeah, it was another
Yeah.
Krevieza.
Anyways, well, if Jones ends up winning, that's going to be very entertaining to see what happens with
Hmm.
that team. Moving on, we have Team McCarville from Fort William Curling Club in Thunder Bay, Ontario,
They won the trials.
right?
Pre-trials.
The
There, I goofed it
pre-trials.
too.
Did we picked? I think we both picked her as to win.
That was a
Yeah,
pretty safe bet.
yeah. And then Team Rock from Saville Community Sports Center in Edmonton. I don't
Uh-huh.
really. Oh, we have Dana Ferguson and Rochelle Brown
Right,
from
from
pre.
Chelsea Carey's old team.
Yeah. Well, even before Chelsea Carey, what's her name?
Val
Val
Sweeting, back when
Sweeting.
she
Yeah.
skipped them, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're going really back.
Yeah. And then Team Scheidegger from the Lethbridge Curling Club. So she's from the the pre-trial direct entry. And finally, Team Walker, also from the pre-trial direct entry. So yeah, so that wraps up the women. So I think
Mm-hmm.
they're playing, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're playing essentially a round robin and then it's playoffs, right? With a
They are.
semifinal
So
and a
yeah,
final.
there's 9 teams, full round robin, and top 3 make it. The top team gets a bye to the final, and 2 versus 3 playoff and a semifinal. And there will be tiebreakers if 2 teams are tied, because I remember we thought there would be tiebreakers for the pre-trials, and it turns out there wasn't.
Mm-mm.
And there were some good teams that were knocked out because of a lousy shootout. So there will be tiebreakers here.
Could you imagine losing a trial spot due to, or like you didn't make the playoffs because of a poor draw to the button?
I, I
I'd be
hate it so
pissed.
much.
Yeah.
By the way, fun fact, so there's 9 teams here, and there's only 3 provinces represented.
Oh my goodness, that's true.
Yeah, 3 from Alberta, which are Walker, Scheidegger, Rock. 3 from Manitoba, Jones, Fleury, Einerson. And 3 from Ontario, Harrison, Homan, McCarville.
Well, I guess that's very telling of which provinces dominate curling in Canada.
It sure is. Okay, so should we go with our predictions before we move on to the men?
Yes.
Okay. Well, since you apparently got the pre-trial so perfectly, I think you should have to go first.
Okay, I have 2 picks here, and I've done the same with the men's. So I think that Holman will win again.
Okay.
However, my pick for like who I would most like I would love to see in the Olympics, and I think would be great like PR for Canada and like really represent the country well and just be like very dynamic and fun to see on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Team Einerson win.
Yeah.
So those are my 2 picks. But I'll go with Holman.
Okay. Why don't we pick the top 3? Like, why don't we,
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
okay. We can do that.
So you're already saying Homan will win.
Right.
Who else is in your top 3, though?
So my top 3 would be 1 Holman. So I'm writing this
Okay.
down at the same time, so it's on the record. 2 Einerson, and then 3rd, I'm gonna go with Fleury.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, I'm going to say Einerson takes it.
All right.
She wins the whole thing. She beats Homan. And the other playoff team is going to be Laura Walker.
Oh, good pick. Honestly, a lot of these teams, like I think any of them could be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's hard to say because I'm looking at the Alberta teams in particular with Kelsey Rock and Casey Scheidegger. I mean, they're no slouches, but the thing is with coming off the weird year that we are with COVID, we saw a lot of Laura Walker in the bubble, and I don't believe Scheidegger or Rock played at all, or very little, because if you were not part of the bubble last year, then how much curling did you actually do?
Yeah, but even if you were part of the bubble, how much curling did you actually do? A lot of them, they had a couple games before the Scotties. Like I don't
It
know.
just feels like a lot to us because that damn bubble lasted for like 4
Yeah, it
months.
did. But honestly, like the fact that if you were able to play last year, I don't really think carries forward this year. Look at Krista McCarville. Like they didn't play at all last year, and she's in the trials.
And that's their style. They don't travel.
No, well, when you're from
They
Thunder Bay, it's really expensive.
I know. That's why I think we've made the case before, but they deserve mention in the conversation of some of the greatest all-time curlers, because imagine how good they would be if they traveled the country a la Jennifer Jones, a la
Right.
Rachel Homan, and played as much as they did.
Right. Oh, for sure. But I mean, understand it asks. There's a lot of sacrifices that need to be made to be able to do that, and to find 4 people from small town Thunder Bay to do that is not easy. So,
Nope.
all right. Well, let's move on to the men's.
Mm-hmm.
So first we have Team Botcher, who we know very well, also from Saville Community Sports Center in Edmonton.
Can't really argue with that.
Nope. I think they're going to be a team to watch. Then you
Mhm.
got Rob's favorite team, Team Dunstone from the Highland Curling Club from
I
Regina.
called them out once. Just
And
once.
Oh, you called them out more than once. Maybe once on the podcast. but
Once on the
offline.
airwaves.
But so Team Dunstone with sorry, but Rob really hates this team.
No, I don't.
No, you don't hate, but like you have strong
Hate,
comments.
hate is
about
such a
them.
strong word, but
It
I
is,
have
okay.
comments, and
You have
and
comments.
Matt
I support your comments. Don't worry about it.
Yes, and Matt Dunstone's use of a corn broom is enough to endear me to him. So
He gains bonus points that way.
that's right.
Right. So yeah, I think Dunstone is kind of he can go either way. I think they'll either do really well or they'll be like at the bottom of the pack.
It's hard to say because like you look at they're so good, but in a field like this, I
Mhm.
could see them finish first. I could see them finishing last.
Exactly.
That's the interesting thing about the trials.
It'll just if they manage to get on a like to peak and to get on a hot streak, I think they can do very well. But if they don't, yeah, they could end up at the bottom of the pack.
Absolutely.
Then we got Team Epping from the Leaside Curling Club in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Another familiar face, with also Brett Lang. Wouldn't it be great if Jones and and Epping win? Husband and wife get to go to the Olympics together,
That'd be interesting. I think that's happened before. Or no, they've both been to the Olympics, but never at
but
the
not
same
never at the
time.
same time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Then we have Team Gun Lickson from the Morris Curling Club in Manitoba.
Yeah, nobody likes that team.
Not all. They're from they're a pre-trial entry.
We love that team.
Yeah,
They play a very exciting game.
they do. Then we have Team Gushu, another veteran from the Remax Center in St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
The Remax Center isn't that sounds more like an arena than a curling club.
I've seen pictures of it. It's really a curling club, but
Okay.
that'll be the next thing. Like we play at a curling club, but I'm pretty sure by the end of our careers it'll be known as the Tim Hortons Center.
Oh dear.
That'll be how we lose Kelly.
Yeah. I already sent sorry segue, but did you ended up going to Tim Hortons
I have
recently?
not, but like the big news this week is Justin Bieber has launched his own brand of Timbits. Are they available yet?
I have no idea. I just saw the headline. This is one of the things where I didn't even read the article. I just saw the headlines and sent it to you right away.
I know. I had a couple of people talking to me about it, and everybody was saying what a terrible idea. They all hated it, but nobody stopped to talk about the flavors of Timbits that are involved. I thought they sounded good.
What are the flavors? Do you remember?
I'm looking it up here.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I mean, a Timbit's a Timbit. Like they're all good.
Yeah, like we've had our well, by we I really mean you have had our criticisms of Tim Hortons
But I won't
quite often.
critique. I won't critique the Timbits. I love Timbits. Whenever you go to the office and someone brings a box of 50, like 100 Timbits, you know I'm gonna eat them all.
I know. I love it. Even if they are stale and they've been sitting there
I don't care. They're still good.
they're still pretty good. I don't feel so good after I have a couple, but like that doesn't matter. Okay, so the three Tim Biebs flavors, as they're calling them, are
Timbits.
Tim Biebs, you bet, are chocolate white fudge.
Oh, that might actually be good.
Like, yeah, that
That
sounds
sounds
good.
good. Yeah.
Sour cream chocolate chip. And okay,
Uh,
but hold on a sec. Like when it comes to sour cream, I assume they mean some
like is
kind
it
of
cheesecakey?
I don't think so. I think it's some kind of glaze with like kind of a lemony thing, which
Oh,
makes it
right.
sour. But they have to find a better name than sour cream because that makes me think of like tacos or
Yeah. Yeah.
what you would.
Exactly.
And I've always had an issue with that. And then there's this one, birthday cake waffle.
Oh, that actually might be
See,
really good.
I told you, like these are
Yeah.
not bad.
I think when you say birthday cake, I think of the like the the funfetti
Yeah.
birthday cake mix. That's what I think of.
Yeah, like they already have something like that, but now like
Yeah.
with some kind of waffle thing.
Okay, well, I have a local Tim Hortons. Maybe I'll scope it out, and if I see the Beebs Timbits,
Yeah, on
I'll
November 29th. November 29th.
okay, I'll mark
Yeah.
my calendar.
So we'll try that. We'll try them and we'll report here how they are.
Okay, so stay tuned in a couple of weeks. Okay, let's get back to the teams here. So then we have another pre-trial entry, Team Horgan from the Cataraqui Golf and Curling Club from Kingston, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're supported by the Tragically Hip. If you listened to last week's episode, you would understand the reference.
Exactly.
Team Jacobs from the Sioux Curlers Association from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
That's right. Oh, he's got Mark Kennedy as third.
Since when did they curl out of the Sioux?
Since when do they have Mark Kennedy as third? There's an old favorite. Um,
They're from Thunder Bay, no?
No, they're from Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah, so then we have the guy who's very bad at time management, Team Cooey from the Glencoe Curling Club, Calgary, Alberta.
You know, I was thinking about that today. I don't think he is as bad as we say he is. I think it's his team. I think Kevin is a pretty, or not the most vocal, verbose guy there calling the game. It's the
That's
fact
for
that
sure.
his whole team wants to give input. I think
Mhm.
that's what slowed them down.
Good point.
And then we have rounding out the field is Mike Mcewen, who made it here out of the pre trials,
Direct entry.
right? Which and I don't want to say that anybody. I don't want to pick a team to come in last or anything like that, and I'm not about to and say that. But if there's one team that
Oh,
has
go
not
for
been
it.
But I'm not even willing to do that. It's just if there's one team that has not been that strong, I would say it's been Mike Mcewen. And I mean, obviously he deserves to be here if he could win the direct entry. But just keep in mind is what I mean. They did not make forget the playoffs. They didn't even make the championship pool at the Briar last year.
Right.
So they've not been playing particularly well the last couple of years. But what's interesting about this is that none of that means anything.
Well, to be fair too, like there was some team reshuffling there, so I think they just never had time to like coagulate as a team and find that sweet spot to be able to perform well. And like you said, they're fantastic players, but the thing is that the pool of teams is just so strong
Yeah.
that you may finish dead last, but that doesn't mean you're a bad team. Just everyone else is really good.
That's it. It's the nature of
Yeah.
the one thing we do know, because we don't know a lot, but the one thing that we do know from this is that some really, really good team is going to come in last place.
Right. Right.
And that's the nature of these Olympic trials.
There's something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so well, I guess since you led off with the women, maybe I should go first with the men.
Yeah.
Oh, who to pick?
I find the men is a little harder,
Yeah,
or
I could see.
especially for the playoffs, because I could literally see any one of these teams making the playoffs.
That's why I think I deserve like $1 million if I get this right. But I'm gonna say Brad Gushu wins it.
Okay.
Um, he is going to defeat Brendan Botcher in the final,
Okay.
and the third place team will be Kevin Cooey.
I had similar picks. I also think Gushu's gonna win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then I would go Kui, so he'd beat Kui out, and then the third place team will be Botcher. So we just swap it.
Okay, so we're very, very similar there.
Yeah. However, I just want to add the team I would love to see win is Team Gun Lickson.
Oh, me too.
I would be so happy if they win.
Absolutely. That would be a lot of fun.
So that's my fan favorite pick.
And I hope they have a good week. My favorite thing with that team is like they don't really contend for the championship, but they do get in there and mess things up for some of the really big name teams.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, they just came off from winning the pre-trials. So if they can kind of like keep that momentum into the trials, like that could definitely work in their favor.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I might actually watch this championship.
I know, we will have to. Unfortunately, it's at like a very inconvenient time of year, I find, for in terms of like how busy we are with work and things like that. I don't know, but I find it really, I want to watch as many draws as I can, and I don't really have the time to.
Right. No, same here. Well, I'm kind of limited to evening games, but even sometimes, like now that life has picked back up again, I have plans in the evenings.
I know,
So I
like
don't
these
have time
evenings
to
are
watch.
pretty busy with things, so that's always been hard. I like when the Briar lines up with or Tournament of Hearts. Sometimes one of them will line up with my March break, and I would love to like have that luxury for the trials, and it does not happen.
Well, I never have that luxury, Rob, so
But you could
but I
take your
don't.
vacation in March. Like,
No. Sorry. I mean, I love curling, but I would never take a week off vacation to watch curling.
that's right. For us who don't get a choice, it's the consolation of not having a choice, of having one of those tournaments happen during it. But
Right.
no, it'll be fun. Even though we might not get to watch as much as we would like.
I'll definitely watch the playoffs, that's for sure.
And we'll definitely follow what's going on. Like, we'll follow the developments of it, and I'm sure we'll have a bunch of snarky comments to make. It was a lot easier under curfew when there was we had
Nothing
no
else to
choice
do.
but to stay home and watch curling.
So now that we gone through the Canadian teams, the rest of the world is also fighting for spots to the Olympics. I don't know if you had a chance to look at like who qualified and who has yet to qualify.
Oh, I have not. Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, good.
I'm prepared. I haven't looked too much into the mixed doubles, but I've looked into the men's and the women's. So there's still 3 spots remaining for countries to qualify. And in December or early December, there's the WCF Olympic qualifying event for a bunch of teams to get those spots. And kind of like Canada, there's a whole bunch of like pre-qualifier and pre-qualifier, which I can kind of go into in a moment. But pretty standard. Like if you start with the women's, like Canada's already got their spot. China gets a spot because they're host country. Then we got Denmark, who got a spot,
Okay.
which is that country that just kind of comes
Such
in
a
and goes.
high-low curling country,
Yeah.
right? At one time, they're in the World Championship final, and then a year later, they're fighting to get out of the sea.
Exactly. Like consistency is not Denmark's strength. And then we have ROC, or the Russian Olympic Curling Federation.
Okay, I was like, Kelsey Rock is.
No,
What are you talking about?
the country we
But the
cannot
right.
officially name. And then Sweden, Switzerland, and the United States. Do
Okay.
you recognize one country I did not mention that should be part of this list, but that isn't?
Um, the country we live in.
No, Canada's got a spot.
Okay. Wait. No, I'm trying to think.
Great Britain,
Oh yeah, yeah.
i.e. Scotland, they curl out of Great Britain for the Olympics, but they have yet to qualify for the women's.
Interesting.
Interesting, eh? I remember we had the discussion at some point last year of like the downfall of Eve Muirhead, or like not the downfall, but comparing Eve to Homan and how their careers have just like taken off in different
Yeah,
directions.
it's they're on a bit of a decline, it would appear.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not fully out of it yet. They're playing in this pre-trials event, so they still have a chance to get there. But
Because when it comes to Scottish curling, like there's definitely been a changing of the guard with like Bruce Mowat is now I mean definitely a gold medal threat. Let's be honest, and waiting in the wings behind him, there's another good Scottish team in this Ross White team.
mhm.
So Scotland on the men's side is looks ready to go for many years to come, but for the women, I don't know. Is there another team in line? Like maybe there is, but I don't know about it.
Like there's definitely other women's team in Scotland, but
But nobody has taken these Grand Slams by storm the way Bruce Mowat has.
no one's taken Eve's crown yet.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to get too into it because, like, curling can be very political, and it's one of
That's
those
why our Netflix
situations.
special will get into it.
Oh my god,
We'll
this would
have a
be an
whole episode
amazing
about this. Oh,
episode.
yeah.
Oh, I think you could do a whole season on just Scotland. But yeah, we don't want to get into trouble right now, so I'll leave that at that. The other teams that are still trying to qualify are South Korea, who had great success last Olympic,
Yeah.
have yet to qualify. Germany too, which we've seen recently in a couple worlds. And then other teams, Japan, Czech Republic, Italy, and Estonia. And then Latvia and Turkey also won a spot into this they won the pre-Olympic qualification event.
Okay, but very interesting because I thought that like we were among the last countries to settle things, and I guess not.
Yeah, we're the last to settle who's going to be our rep, but we already have
Oh,
our spot.
okay.
These are countries fighting for a spot
Right.
in
Like
the
okay,
Olympics.
so they kind of they know who their teams will be. They just don't know if they'll be there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think pretty much whoever is going to be playing in these tournaments will be the representative of those countries. Because to be fair, like the rest of the world, there's only one team for the country, except maybe
That's right.
Switzerland.
That's
But
right.
yeah, so that's it for the women's. And I hope for Team Czech Republic that they do not have to play 3 games in a day, because if not, they're
Think of
gonna
all
have
the
a rough
granite they'll
time.
think of all the pounds of granite they'll have to lift. They did the math.
All the kilometers are gonna have to sweep. Really snarky today.
That was a fun time when we took them down for that. That
Yeah,
was
I'm
the
sorry.
Czech team protesting by citing all the kilometers they would have to walk by playing 3 games in a day last year. Not garnering much sympathy from the Behind the Tee podcast.
Oh, definitely not. I was
And
like,
probably anybody.
yeah, I was like, girls, I have played many 3 games in a day. Like, deal with it.
That's right. Play mixed doubles and then speak to us.
Yeah. So then if you go to the men's, so the teams that have qualified are Canada and China, Great Britain, i.e. Scotland, and then Russia, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United States. So no surprises there.
Yeah, this time I was actually paying attention, listening for notable omissions, and I can't really think of one.
No, so I guess the only notable ones might be Italy. Like they've had some recent success in the past couple worlds, and even the last Olympics, I think they did fairly well. And then Norway. I would have expected Norway to get a spot. It's no
You
longer
know
Team
how? Yeah.
Ulsterud, but
Well, I was gonna say I could care less if they don't have Team Ulster.
but besides that, you have Japan, Germany, Denmark, and South Korea. And then the Czech Republic and Finland are also there through the pre-Olympic qualification event. So yeah, I think the guys is pretty standard. No surprises there.
Yeah, I can't really think of any. It's
I think the surprise will just be who actually wins the Olympics because it could be literally anyone.
I know. Like, did anybody have money on John Schuster last time?
No. Oh, whoever put money on that
Yeah.
must have I never would have guessed that
No,
Schuster would have won the
exactly. And that's
Olympics.
what I like about all of this is that there's all this preparation that's done. There's all this investing in a team for 4 years and doing all this ridiculous training. And at the end of the day, it comes down to one game and or one little playoff run, and you never really know who's going to get hot. And
Right.
there's,
I hope it's Canada, but
I hope it's Canada too, but I hope it's like an oddball team that we did not expect to represent Canada. That would make it even more fun.
sorry to segue a little bit here. Who's gonna be representing Switzerland in for the men's? Is it Schwartz? Like, do
It,
they
it
officially got their
No,
spot?
it is Peter De
Okay.
Cruz, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it is De Cruz.
Okay.
We were cheering for Schwartz because they follow us on Instagram, but what can you do?
No, it's not. No, Schwartz is part of the Cruises team. It
Oh,
was
Schwartz. I'm thinking of
Schwaller.
Schwaller. Sorry. They both start with the same four letters.
Okay, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure there because I remember their Olympic berth was kind of up in the air depending on how well they did at the Worlds,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Something like
which
that.
we were not a fan of, but I believe
Mm-mm.
they have secured the right. I
Oh,
believe.
good. But they should follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Behind the T.curling.
So with all that trials news, Kelly, there's actually some other news going on in the curling world today.
Oh, please tell me.
Yes, this is pretty exciting news. So Quebec just won a national championship.
Say what?
I know you didn't even know this, did you?
No.
The Canadian Mixed Championship wrapped up today on this day of record that we're recording,
And this is mixed, not mixed doubles.
not mixed doubles. This is traditional curling, but with mixed teams. And Quebec, actually, for a second year in a row, won the national title.
Nice.
Quebec being skipped by some curler named Jean-Michel Menard. I don't know if you've
Oh,
heard of
never
him.
heard of him.
It was interesting because I really like the national mix tournament, and I think it deserves more attention than it gets. They showed it on YouTube all week, and I've had a crazy busy week, so I've not been able to follow it or watch it much, but I had it on in the background while I was like eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night every day this week, that kind of thing. So I got to see a little bit of it. I got to watch, and it's a lot of fun because it's really good caliber curling, but it's not quite at the Tournament of Hearts or Briar level.
Right.
But that said, even though it's not at that level, that actually I think makes it a bit more interesting. It's really good curling with the human aspect of they actually will miss the occasional shot.
Oh, okay.
So it's there's some things where like you see a team take 4 and then give up 3. That wouldn't happen with Brad Gushu and Kevin Cooey, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I got into it. I kind of enjoyed it. Not that I could watch very much of it. And yeah, kudos to Team Quebec with
Oh, well, congratulations.
and actually, yeah, because there's a few names that we've heard of, like James Grattan, who we see at the Briar every year out of New Brunswick, was skipping the
Yeah.
New Brunswick team. There were a few other, like Jamie Cooey had a very good week skipping the Northwest Territories. They actually finished first in the round robin, but they lost in the semis. But yeah, like a lot of names that we've heard of, and Quebec was Jean-Michel Menard.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, Marie-France Larouche was his third.
Right.
Jean-Michel's wife, Annie Lemay, who played for many years with Marie-France, and Marie-France's husband, Yann Belot, was it's a pretty good team.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think because the mixed doesn't really lead you anywhere. Like you win and there is a world championship too, I think, but it doesn't have the level of notoriety as regular men's, women's, or mixed doubles play. So it's a lot of fun, even as a player. Like I haven't played it, but I know people who've played it, and it is like you curl, but there's a whole party happening in behind the scenes, and it's kind of that tournament. Like it's good curling because a lot of the players are kind of like ex-competitive curlers, like Jean-Michel Menard, right? Or Well, I guess Kui's not necessarily ex-competitive because he's the only one out of Northwest Territories. But essentially, it's like people who have like competed in the past and kind of still want to compete, but don't want to commit to traveling the country all the time. They're like, this is my big tournament for the year. Thank you very much. I'm going to go back to club curling now. Like that's kind of what it is. So
It
good
does.
curling, but more on yeah, it's a little more chill.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of fun. And actually, I remember Montreal held this tournament quite a few years ago, actually, at a club that I lived very close to at the time. And so I volunteered for it, and they made me a driver. So my job was to drive a lot of the players from the hotel to the curling club. And Cheryl Bernard was there, Carrie Einerson was there, James Grattan was there, Greg Balsden. Who else was there? There were a lot of names that I saw on TV for many years and that were then in the back of my car, which is really weird. No, it's a great tournament, and it seems like it would be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, like it made me think, like, oh yeah, that would be fun to enter. And Jean Michel said, like, oh, he plans to play this forever. So, like, well, there's no getting out of Quebec then.
For one time you can say that, like my odds of getting out of Quebec are really slim.
I know. Might be easier to get to the Briar.
I think what you have to do, Rob, is just try to get on his team, so then you can go.
There you go. Unfortunately, the other guy on his team, the second, Yann Belot, was making everything, so I don't think he'd have much use for me. But anyways, just before we wrap this up, I have to get this out there that a lot of the names, I was flipping through the rosters very quickly, and there were some familiar names. And so Quebec beat Ontario in the final. And by the way, just quick aside, Jean-Michel made one of the best shots you'll ever see. He was in huge trouble, and he made this double roll to the button, and he was going to give up 3 or 4, doubles 2 rocks out, rolls to the button, perfectly frozen on the other Ontario rock. No, it did not explode, but it's as if it did.
Okay.
Then with broom shutout. But anyways, so this Ontario team that they were playing, I thought that a couple of the players looked familiar, so I quickly searched their names into Facebook.
Right.
And this is what I found. I have to read you this. So the front end of the Ontario team actually have a mixed doubles team. And the reason I bring this up is they have the greatest Facebook page of any mixed doubles team I've ever seen.
So this is a Facebook page like for the team?
For the team, yeah. So like, you know how we have an Instagram page that chronicles all the awesome things we do, which is
behind the T-Dot curling.
Right. So they have one chronicling their mixed doubles team. But when I found this, I thought it was so funny because they're very self-deprecating.
Right.
Like this is just a post from the end of their 2019 season. It just goes, well, the season has come to a close with an absolutely brutal showing by Team Hobson Tippett, that's their name, that was recorded by local TV for future generations to study on how not to play mixed doubles. Brampton Curling treated us like royalty and we couldn't have asked for a better experience, yada, yada, yada. Then they start saying nice things, but I like the part where they just talk about how badly they've played. Let me find you one more. There's a picture of them having a beer here, drowning our sorrows after a brutal loss.
It's the only way to handle a brutal loss.
Despite Erica curling 0%, we managed to win our game. Erica is getting wine now, which should help solve the problem. And I'll just read you their team intro.
Okay.
This is their first post. So this is the front end on this Ontario team we saw today. But Kevin Tippett and Erica Hobson met on a Thursday night in 2017 and bonded over a shared love of hijinks and drinks. Their fate to curl together was sealed when they discovered a common appetite for Topper's Pizza. I guess that's some pizza chain in Ottawa. I don't know. And a common distrust of the youth of these days. Notable achievements include 2018 mixed doubles regional qualifier winner on the Seaside, ranked 16 out of 16 teams at provincials, and didn't even finish dead last.
I love that.
2019 mixed doubles regional qualifier winner, Seaside, thanks to a crippling injury to another team. Not ranked 16th out of 16 at provincials, but probably will finish dead last. Being friends for 2 years with only a handful of instances of Erica giving Kevin the silent treatment. Then it goes on. The key to Team Hobson's Tippett's success is Hobson's curling skills and Tippett's ability to drive places.
Very important.
True environmentalist, the team has adopted a zero waste policy, and as such, Hobson dutifully finishes Tippett's meals. Team Hobson Tippett has many goals and ambitions. Hobson strives to be the least sweeping doubles player of all time, and Tippett strives to be less heavy all the effing time. Also, the team dreams of finding out what there is to life other than being really, really ridiculously good looking. Their team song or team anthem is Dress, Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Then finally, it concludes by saying team strengths, strong livers, and great hair. Team weaknesses, throwing, sweeping, and general strategy. Interested sponsors can contact us at curlingcutie6969@hotmail.com.
Well, there we go. I think we just got a new username for
I know.
our fantasy league if they care to join.
I agree. So,
That's
yes,
great.
go search Hobson Tippett Mixed Doubles Team of Awesomeness on Facebook and give this team a lot of love. I
Some
think
love.
they deserve it just based on that. That was enough to almost make me cheer for against our own home province.
Hey, if I had a lot of money, I'd sponsor that team.
Absolutely. It makes me, we've got to step up our social media game to compete
sure.
with that, is what I've discovered.
Right. Yeah, we gotta take our Instagram to a whole new level here.
Yeah, we'll try. We're getting there.
Well, we're still easing our ways into the season, even though it's already November.
That's right. But first game coming up this week, even though it's late November.
I know. I've yet to watch a full curling game.
Can I just tell you quickly before we go? I did play an actual game, not with you, but with my Thursday night team the other day.
Okay.
And so I was skipping. Let's just say it was not I didn't curl horribly, but there were several bad brain fart moments. In the first end, I called for my second to do a takeout, and I'm tapping the rock to say, hit this.
Yeah.
And one of the sweepers is yelling something down to me, and I have no idea what the hell he's saying.
Was it a guard? You're asked to hit a guard when you
No, it was in the house. It was in the house. But he came down to tell me because I really couldn't hear him. He says, "We're yellow. You shouldn't be calling us to take out the yellow rock."
Oh, no, you didn't.
I was tapping our own rock saying remove it. And then later on in the game, in the last end, we're up, but not by a lot. And so I called for us to do a takeout. And I said, if we wreck on the guard, it's partially buried, but if we wreck on the guard, that's fine. We'll peel the guard, but go for the one in the house. And again, my third is yelling something down. I can't hear what he's saying. So I just ignored him and we called the shot anyway. And sure enough, we wreck on the guard and we violated the 5 rock rule. But the other skip didn't notice either. And so we had no idea where to put the rock because neither of us were paying attention. And also I forgot that they had hammer in the 8th end. I set up the whole end as if we had hammer.
Well, good thing that you're not skipping our Tuesday night ladder.
I know. I mean, really, that year and a half has not been kind to me, it would appear so far.
Oh, geez.
So I've set the bar pretty low for you on Tuesday, Kelly, if you're skipping.
I think I can manage on Tuesday.
Just remember what color we are and we'll be good.
Right. All right, so that's it for this week. Catch us next week when we'll kind of review, I guess, what happens during the trials. So
yeah, we'll break down some trials thing of some nature. We'll figure it out by then. And we'll review how our game went.
Yes. For still alive and still a team.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care.